wondering if the ketogenic diet is for you? Or maybe you've tried a ketogenic diet and you've wanted to pull your hair out because you've tried really hard to get into ketosis and you couldn't seem to make it work. Turns out it's not your fault. There are genes that help us get into ketosis, but you can have what's called SNPs, little defects. We all have SNPs. So mom and dad came together and made your cute little body, and at that moment we all get these little SNPs or little defects. And sometimes they're very insignificant and they just don't amount to much. And then in other occasions they do. So we've been doing nutritional genomics, which is specifically looking at SNPs, these little defects that can really have an impact on your health in a variety of ways. Anything from hormonal imbalance, a tendency toward dementia and Alzheimer's, detoxification difficulties, methylation difficulties. Methylation involves about 200 different processes in the human body, so it's very extensive. And then recently, the lab we use is called GX Sciences, but they came out with a new panel for people who have been having trouble losing weight. And it's really been fascinating to see the results that we're getting with people who, you probably know people who just have such a time. They're exercising, they're not eating much, and they cannot lose a pound, and it's so frustrating. And so we, of course, have a number of those individuals as patients as well. And while they're feeling good, they're so, because we're affecting different aspects of their health. But that weight loss piece is just, so difficult. So sure enough, we've been getting these results back, and aha, there it is right in the genes. And even a member of my staff said, it makes you feel so much better when there's a reason. And it's not the kind of reason where you just go, well, it's in my genes, nothing I can do, It's not that. What's exciting about this is that we're only evaluating for these SNPs or defects that we can nutritionally influence. So it's not like you're stuck with it. Yes, mom and dad gave it to you, but now you can influence that gene, either turn it up to get it producing in a better way, or turn it down because it's producing too much. And so it's really very, very exciting that we can have this impact on our genetics. So the ketogenic diet is certainly very popular, and then there is a SNP that will literally prevent you from getting into ketosis, because we like ketosis. I don't like 24/7 ketosis because research just doesn't support it. What we do promote here at the clinic is the 3-12 rule of fasting, which is 3 hours between dinner and bed. So if you ate dinner at 8 o'clock and you went to bed at 11, there's your 3 hours, and then 12 hours of fasting total. So again, dinner at 8, you wouldn't eat breakfast again till 8 the next morning, which is pretty easy, you'll have to admit. But that's what research shows is the best fasting window. It's not 15 hours and 20 hours. That's not what research shows. And I know you can hear all sorts of different recommendations when it comes to fasting, but that is not shown to be healthy. In fact, it's more shown to have liabilities for heart and gallbladder. Those are the two major studies I know about. So getting back to ketosis, if you've been trying to pull your hair out and go, oh, I can't get into a ketogenic state no matter what, I think it is very helpful to get into a ketogenic state during that 12-hour fast. And if you find you can't do it, you might very well have this SNP. And this particular SNP is for somebody who has that trouble with ketosis. There's another SNP that people just can't do too much fat. So the ketogenic diet tends to be pretty high in fat. Good fats are fine, except if you don't do well with them. So good fats in moderation are great. There's another SNP that if you're having too much fat, really does affect your cholesterol, including your good and bad cholesterol levels. So a gentleman I just consulted with the other day. He said, you know, been healthy my whole life. I did start doing a ketogenic diet about 3-4 months ago, and he said it was just time for my blood test. And he said I'm a like cardiac risk, where they look at the ratios of the cholesterol. And he said my number's really high. And I was like, you can't do the ketogenic diet the way you've been doing it. You're not a high fat person. And so we've seen that a lot with patients who really haven't had much of an issue with cholesterol, bad cholesterol, et cetera, and all of a sudden their numbers just go through the roof because it's very inflammatory. So again, you can have this SNP that predisposes you to that, and then you can compensate nutritionally, but you're not the kind of person that's going to do great on a lot of saturated fat at all. So if you are somebody who is trying to get to a healthy weight, or you're just trying to get to a healthy level of health and production of all your organs, and you're really having trouble, the nutritional genomic link is a beautiful one. There's nothing more personal than your genetics, and so we love this as a tool, and it really gives you some very precise data on you and genes that are really predisposing you in a certain direction, and certain lifestyle and dietary measures that you can take that will suit you better genetically, on top of natural nutrition that, as I said, can kind of turn off a bad gene or turn on a good gene. So let me know if that's you, and if you're really just kind of feeling like you're up against a wall and not being able to make the good changes that you want to make in your life and in your health. Because a woman came in this morning and she's doing so much right. I mean, generally speaking, there wasn't a lot to find as far as her lifestyle and diet and what she's doing, yet she has chronic digestive problems and emotional issues as far as hormonal links and terrible menstrual cycles. And I mean, as hard as she's trying, and she's young, you know, she's barely 30 years old, so she's doing all of this right and has really been trying for about 5 years, and she's better, but she's so far from where she should be, and the chronic digestive problems are absolutely not right. So what's the missing piece? And as I've said before, we don't give up here on our patients. We know that your body's designed to function ideally and optimally, and if it's not, there's a reason. So this genetic piece has been a nice one, and it really goes way beyond the 23andMe testing that you can get done, because you can get that testing done, but then what do you do with it? It's a lot of information, and you don't get much guidance. So these particular SNPs, again, the little defects that we test for, we only look for ones that we know what to do with nutritionally, and I think that's the big difference. There's plenty of little defects out there that we just know they're defects. We don't know what to do with them, and that's, you know, not a very optimistic look. I'd rather stick with the things that we know how to control. So again, if your health is not the way you want it to be, reach out. That's why we're here. I'd love to talk to you. You can call me at 408-733-0400, or visit the website rootcausemedicalclinics.com, and we'll find the right diet and lifestyle for you.